The alchemists were fascinating, mysterious figures who pursued a unique blend of science, mysticism, and philosophy in their attempts to unlock the deepest secrets of nature. Their origins can be traced back to ancient civilizations, including Egypt, China, and Greece, where early metallurgical and medical practices began to intertwine with spiritual and cosmological beliefs. The Egyptians, for instance, regarded alchemy as a sacred art linked to Thoth, the god of wisdom, and Hermes Trismegistus, a legendary figure who later became central to the Hermetic tradition. The Greeks, influenced by Egyptian knowledge, developed philosophical ideas about the transformation of matter, particularly through the theories of Empedocles and Aristotle, who proposed that all substances were composed of the four fundamental elements: earth, water, air, and fire. Meanwhile, Chinese alchemists, working within the framework of Taoist philosophy, sought not only the transmutation of metals but also the elixir of immortality, experimenting with mercury, cinnabar, and herbal concoctions in pursuit of longevity. During the early Middle Ages, alchemy flourished in the Islamic world, where scholars translated and preserved classical Greek and Egyptian texts while expanding upon them with their own innovations. The most influential of these scholars was Jabir ibn Hayyan, known in the West as Geber, who introduced systematic experimentation and the classification of substances based on their properties. His extensive writings on chemical processes, such as distillation, sublimation, and crystallization, laid the groundwork for later developments in both alchemy and chemistry. Alchemists in the Islamic world also explored the production of acids and new compounds, greatly advancing the study of materials and their transformations. By the late Middle Ages and the Renaissance, European alchemists, inspired by the knowledge passed down from Islamic scholars, became increasingly preoccupied with the transmutation of base metals into gold. This pursuit, often associated with the legendary philosopher's stone, was not merely about material wealth, it symbolized the perfection of matter and the elevation of the soul. Figures such as Albertus Magnus and Roger Bacon blended alchemical experimentation with Christian theology, believing that the secrets of nature were divinely ordained. In the 16th century, Paracelsus challenged traditional alchemical doctrines by emphasizing the role of alchemy in medicine rather than the production of gold. He developed new chemical remedies based on the principle that the human body was governed by chemical interactions, a revolutionary idea that influenced the future of pharmacology. The Renaissance also saw the rise of more esoteric and mystical interpretations of alchemy, as exemplified by John Dee, a scholar and advisor to Queen Elizabeth I. Dee, along with his associate Edward Kelly, delved into both practical and spiritual alchemy, claiming to communicate with angelic beings to gain divine knowledge. His work reflected a broader trend among alchemists who sought to decode the secrets of the universe through numerology, astrology, and sacred geometry. Many alchemical texts from this period were deliberately cryptic, filled with elaborate symbols, allegories, and obscure terminology to protect their secrets from the uninitiated and, in some cases, from persecution by religious authorities. Despite centuries of effort, the dream of transmuting metals into gold remained unfulfilled, and by the 17th and 18th centuries, alchemy began to decline as the scientific revolution took hold. Thinkers such as Robert Boyle, often considered one of the fathers of modern chemistry, dismissed the mystical aspects of alchemy and instead focused on empirical observation and experimentation. Antoine Lavoisier later dismantled the classical concept of elements, proving that substances were composed of distinct chemical elements rather than the four Aristotelian elements. These discoveries marked the definitive separation of chemistry from alchemy, leading to the establishment of modern scientific methods. Nevertheless, the legacy of alchemy endured, influencing various fields beyond science. Alchemical ideas and symbols persisted in literature, art, and psychology, particularly in the works of Carl Jung, who interpreted alchemical processes as metaphors for psychological transformation and personal enlightenment. Even today, alchemy continues to captivate the imagination, embodying the timeless human desire to understand and manipulate the forces of nature, transform the self, and achieve the impossible.